Well, Monkey, thank you very much for being with us here in Radioacktiva. I mean, how are you?
I'm good, man. Just doing regular dad duties and trying to balance a career that's obviously still doing well as we look upon this record and, hope the best as it's, we release it. So,
But still, with all that, you managed to record and produce new songs, new riffs, and a new record.
I mean, that was 2020 when, we recorded that. So last year when we went on tour, we kind of had to keep it a secret. Well, we did actually. We kind of wanted to hit people with a 1-2 punch with it. And yeah, we managed to keep it quiet, get the work done, and put the time in and write some great songs.
Cool. So Requiem is a mass celebrated for the dead, like a religious ceremony, right?
Yeah.
You can't have an album called like that and not being asked about the title. So I wanted to ask you, is there anything you would like to share about the title of the record? Does it mean anything? Is there a reason why you guys decided? What's the reason you guys decided to go with that title?
I think so many of us have personally lost people that are so close to us. Friends, family members. My mom and my dad are gone now. And it's a way in a bigger picture, we lost a lot of people during the pandemic, a lot of family members and aunts, uncles. We all kind of knew somebody that lost somebody, and it's a way to pay homage to those people and not forget about them. And also it's a reflective way on, I think, an kind of like looking forward. It's a new beginning for us. And I feel like it with the end of, or the death of everything is a new beginning, a new birth. And I feel like it's definitely a new era for the band.
But it's very interesting. I can relate. My father died about a year ago. It's not COVID related, but I understand.
Ugh,
So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Somehow we all share pain, even though just because of the circumstances, even if they're related with COVID or not. So I think somehow for the first time in centuries, humanity is connected by one situation we're living.
Yes.
So that's why it was so interesting when I heard that the album was going to be called Requiem.
Right. It's like you can relate with somebody on this planet with their politics, their religion, the way they raise their children. You know what? You both can agree on that. You'll both be dust in 100 years. That's one thing that's fact. You'll both be dust in the wind, and the song. You'll be.
Yes, and it's just that once you get to listen to the whole record, you have songs like Forgotten, Hopeless, Disconnect, My Confession, and then the ending with Worst is on its way. So is the album sort of telling a story like a process?
The album is telling a story in a little bit of a sense that, we want to give people some hope, but I think we want to leave the listener with like a last song, like the worst is on its way. Be hopeful, but don't hope that much. Keep your expectations low with humanity and our choices we make in the world, because it can be grim.
You just mentioned like a new start for the band. Why?
I think this band, I know this band in the past, like early 90s and the 2000s. We're not concerned about tomorrow so much. We were living in the moment, and we were young, we were just, all we cared about was like the party. We don't care about what happens tomorrow. We just care about today. And that was fun. But now with us all, you know, in our early 50s, it's hard to say. It's hard to take that in. But I don't feel like it. I think that's why. We don't feel like it because the music keeps us so young. But at the same time, we have a lot of wisdom that we've collected along the way. And one of those things is we do care about how we're remembered. We care about what our children are going to think of us, how they see us, how we act now, and how that's going to carry on for a generation or two generations. How people remember our music and what we leave behind. Like all these things are just these new, it's a new insight and it's a new outlook for us as, you know, I guess as seasoned songwriters, and, you know, we're all fathers now, and we want to be remembered as, you know, a band that helped people, you know, not a band that couldn't help ourselves, you know.
How would you define the sound on Requiem compared to previous albums? And I wanted to ask you this because there's something I want to ask you a little further on the interview about a few songs, but I wanted to have your point of view because I think the record is different from previous Korn albums. It's not like it's a different band. It's not the thing I've noticed. I just feel the record sounds different harmonically, and there are some songs that just sound heavy, like Disconnect or Hopeless and Beaten, but I'll ask you about them next. I just wanted to know your opinion first on how would you define the sound of Requiem compared to the previous records.
Well, I feel like we had more time to experiment, you know, with just developing a song. I'm not saying like, yes, there was time when it was time to record and we had time to really take an old school analog approach to everything and record on 2-inch tape like we did 20 years ago. And that created just this big, spacious, a larger, a wider sounding record compared to just working in a computer and editing and recording everything. And that's great for getting ideas, but we're so used to, when we saw the tape reels running, it was like, okay, here's your moment. You know, it was like, it was exciting, you know, it kind of excited us, and it was like, give your best, you know. It had that, you know, when the red light comes on at the recording studio and we know we're recording, we want to give our best, and we want to let people, and honestly, at the time, we didn't understand, like, is anybody going to hear this record? What's the world going to be like in 90 days, you know? So we were really in there making the music for ourselves. And I think we wanted to shape a record that was as light or bright and melody-wise as it was dark. So we kind of took what we did and molded this thing a little wider than we normally do. Like our last record was a little more on the darker, heavy side, especially with Jonathan, what he had gone through, and the lyrics were very dark. And this one feels like a bit more lighter and a little more hopeful, less beaten.
Yeah, but maybe you know that was a positive thing, because you just mentioned harmonically, songs like Disconnect and Hopeless and Beaten, those two tracks particularly caught my attention because they have contrast, you know. You have the heavy core, like more a metal kind of vibe there, but all of the sudden Jonathan goes harmonically into the song, and that impressed me a lot because I don't remember hearing that contrast in Korn, even though you guys done it before, but still, you know, this time was just different.
Yeah, we wanted to really darken the darker parts, I guess, and lighten sort of the more melodic parts of the song. And here was our moment where we could really contrast those two things we do really well. And we wanted to, how are we going to blend this in the right way so we're not alienating the listener, and also adding another element to our sound, adding instead of subtracting to get a bigger sound.
What was the process for Korn to reach these sort of sound maturity? I wouldn't know exactly how to say it, but most of the new metal bands or are gone, or they just don't sound current. They weren't able to manage to keep just pushing boundaries or doing something different, but still, you guys have been very consistent with the sound, and a record like this one shows it. I'm very impressed with the record. I just listened to it like 10 minutes ago, maybe.
Thank
the
you.
whole album, and I was like, okay, there's something different going on here. And I'm not gonna throw names or anything, but I am impressed with that, because you guys have achieved something that several bands that appeared when early 2000 and all that are just gone, but you guys have the whole thing still going on. So can you tell me about it? How did you guys manage to do it?
I think honestly, we trust each other when it comes to, when we have a creative idea. When Jonathan, when I have a creative idea, these guys will lean into me because they trust that even if it sounds, I don't know, we'll trust each other. Even if we're skeptic about maybe trying an idea, we're open to walking down that path to see where it leads. And we've been doing that for 25, 30 years, and it's always led to something great. Either the idea leads someone else in the band to try something new, or gives them an idea. Oh, you know what? That's cool. And it reminds me, and then it's like attracts like. And when we're all on the same, we may not be all on the same page creatively, but we'll eventually get there. And I feel like we have an ambition. We've always had an ambition. When we were teenagers living in a small town in California before we moved to Los Angeles, we had an ambition that we wanted to be in one of the biggest rock bands in the world. And that hasn't left. That's still right here on our sleeves. And that's something that's important. It depends. And a lot of the aspects of being in the band and working so long is, being on the road for so many months. I think that destroys a lot of bands. I think a lot of bands don't realize it's gonna suck for the first couple of years. You're gonna be in a small, cramped quarters, and having our history and growing up together, it gave us an advantage, I think, because we knew each other, we know each other's temperaments, and we know when to push and pull, as far as, oh, leave him alone right now, he just woke up, or oh, he's hungry, he gets grumpy, or for me, I need like 5 naps a day. so it's just knowing and really respecting each other's boundaries. We've gotten to be able to do that, and learn each other's temperaments, and just really respect those boundaries, and trust each other's creativity. That's kept us going.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. Going from earlier songs like, of course, Freak on a Leash or Blind, to what your guys are about to release, it still sounds great. It sounds somehow heavier, and I love that. So thank you for all the records. Thank you for all the music. I'm looking forward to have you guys coming to Colombia again, of course.
Yeah.
Before
I
we
can't
go,
wait. We haven't been there in so long. We've been there maybe 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I know, it's been too much.
Crazy.
before we go, I have to ask you, how's Philly?
Fieldy's okay. He's, he's figuring out stuff, and hopefully next year we'll have him back with us. Who knows? Maybe sooner. But we're gonna
Cool.
give him some time to do his own healing. I think this is a good time, and we have that song "Start the Healing." It's a good time for him to do some of his own healing.
Cool.
What's up? This is Munky from Korn, and you're listening to Radioacktiva, the rock planet.
Thank you very much, man. And once again, have a very nice day. Congratulations for the record, and hope to talk to you again someday.
Cool. Thanks so much. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the record.